In this video, I will demonstrate how to open a window on Mac using only C and Objective-C. The only things you need to follow along are a text editor, in my case VS Code, and the macOS command line tools. I start off by creating a new project folder and initializing Git, and then I use touch to create two files, our main source file and a small build script. The build script only contains two lines. One is the call to the compiler, and the other is just stating the dependency to a macOS framework, which in this case is AppKit. In the main source file, I include the AppKit header file, and then I go along and create our main entry point. Now I check with the build script if the setup is correct, and we get a window executable, which I will then add to gitignore so that the build artifacts are not included. The next step is specific to VS Code in the sense that the .mm file extension breaks code completion for Objective-C. So here I remap .mm files back to Objective-C so that we get code completion working. In order to bring up a window, we need three things. First, an application loop, which is controlled by this running bool flag, an NSApplication object, and a window. So now I go ahead and create the application object using AppKit's API. Our application object is nothing special, so the presentation options are going to be default, and the activation policy basically the same, it's just regular. And the last step is to finish launching the application so that we can use it to handle events. Now that we have our run loop and an NSApplication object, the last missing thing is a window. For that, I create a new file. Again, include the AppKit header file, and then I go ahead and define a new interface where I subclass the NSWindow class. The implementation of the main window is very straightforward, very simple. We only need to specify that our window can become the main window and that it also can become the key window, which means it can receive mouse and keyboard input. Creating a window can be done in many different ways. I like to use a small C function, in this case create main window, which takes in a pointer to the running flag we specified in our main loop, We'll see in a minute why this is useful. And now I go ahead and allocate and initialize the window itself. Most importantly, we need to say how large our window should be and where it should be displayed on the screen. So this is what I'm doing here. The origin is 00, which is the lower left corner of the screen, and the size is 500 by 500. The other thing is we need to specify the style. In our case, the window should be closable and it should display a title. After giving our window a name, we now say make key and order front, which moves our window to the front of the window list, which makes it visible, and it becomes also the key window. That means it can receive keyboard and mouse inputs. The last step here is to specify a delegate. Delegates are a mechanism so that we can receive messages from our window. There's one specific message we are very interested in, and this is when the window should close. And this is also where this bool flag comes in, so that we can break out of the while loop we have in our main entry point. Now we overwrite the window should close message, basically, which gets sent to us when someone clicks on the small X icon. And in here, we flip the switch, so to speak, set the running flag to false, and return true, telling the system, yes, you can close. Same as before with the window object, we now allocate a main window delegate object and initialize it with the bool flag we have received via our create window function. And that's basically it to set up a window here. The rest happens in the main file, where we just need to create the main window and handle some messages. To gain access to what we just wrote in our window file, we include this one here. And then we go ahead and create a window. For those of you who don't know or don't understand what this ampersand thing does, it turns our running bool flag into a pointer to the same thing, so that we are not manipulating a copy, but the original one, which is also used in our main loop. Up to this point, we didn't really care so much about memory leaks, but here we need to be a little bit more careful, since we will receive quite a few NS event objects back from our application, and somehow we need to make sure that they are cleaned up again. Objective-C is using a system which is called automatic reference counting, and that means whenever an object is not used anymore, the reference count is 0 and will be cleaned up automatically. And that's exactly what we want here. We receive events from our app, handle them, and once they are handled, they need to be removed again. The finishing touches here are now to send the events back so that other system internal delegates can do whatever they need to do in order to bring up the window, and then we just update windows. In this case, it's only one. We built the thing, and magic, we have a window. Thanks for watching.